Gauranga bhaje se hoya amar pranure. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yasyaiva padambuja bhakti labhya, Prema-bhakti-candrika parama pumarta, Tasmai jagan mangala mangalaya, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kriyat Kripaya Jadi. Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitva Rishe Yustat Priya Janahan. Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathabda Brajabala Bapaimam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Namamrita Varshi Vaktra Chanda Prabhadvastatamu Baraya Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Namo Namah Shri Narottamaya. Again and again, I offer my obeisances unto Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He's indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Deva, the nectarian shower of the holy name radiating from the moon of his mouth destroys the darkness of ignorance. So, it's so nice to be here with so many devotees. This is the first time I think I've ever given a class with devotees, other than being online, where I had a computer in front of me. I hate that. It just seems so impersonal to me. Phone is a little better, it's small, but computers, but it's more practical, so please forgive me. So we're reading from the Prema-bhakti-candrika of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And as we were mentioning in a previous session, once Gorkishore Das Babaji, who's famous as being illiterate, but actually he could read Bengali, but not Sanskrit. In traditional culture of India, that's considered to be illiterate. So Gorkishore Das Babaji was once asked, how do you get Krishna Prem? And he said, that's easy. You just take a few paisa, go to the market, and buy a copy of Prema-bhakti-candrika and read that book. So in the beginning of Prema-bhakti-candrika, he begins with Om Jnana Timirandasya. It's one of the first places we find that verse. He begins with Sri Guru Charana Padma, the prayers to Sri Guru. He gets so many very, very important instructions. So we're on the 8th chapter. Actually, there's different editions of Prema-bhakti-candrika. And I'm comparing, I read some Bengali, I'm comparing it to the Bengali in one edition.
Hare Krishna, please forgive me. I am only able to hear you when you speak looking right in the front and very much projecting. I'm so sorry, I actually can't do this translation unless you do that.
Okay,
I can't.
that's fine. That's fine.
Let's try that.
Yo. So I just translated in Hungarian. Everybody impressed? I'm multilingual. So there's two different editions of Prema-bhakti-candrika. One, this would be text number 98. And in the edition that we're going through, it's chapter 8, and it's the 12th verse, which this chapter is called Nishta Bhakti, or Effects Devotional Service. And Narottam Das Thakur, previously in some of the other verses, he was speaking about Radharani and Krishna and the gopis, and then he starts speaking in a very unusual way about how we should give up karma and gyan and things. And we were addressing this point that why he's speaking all these Rasik things, all of a sudden now he's saying something which is kind of like ABC kind of stuff, because it's also relevant for devotees who are very elevated. And Prema-bhakti-candrika is relevant, it's legal for us also, because we should know, in the language of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, we should know that such a thing exists. If you don't know that it exists, then how are you going to ever aspire for it? And as we were speaking with Orsi yesterday, if you don't understand what is the goal, have some theoretical understanding of it, then you'll be confused and you won't be able to proceed properly. Traditionally, in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, devotees, they practice Astakaliya Lila Smarana, or they meditate on the eightfold pastimes of the day. Prabhuji does that with his phone app. And that's a long story, right? And generally, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and our acharyas discourage that. But it doesn't mean that we can't understand that such a thing exists. But there's a difference between trying to practice something and just having an understanding that it exists. So I'm going to go back to our previous verse, and we'll put this on the board here. Is it loud enough now, Krishna Kun? Yigan?
Now when you ask the question, yes, otherwise it's really hard.
Okay, I'm going to try to turn the volume up like this. Paramanagara Krishna, Tanhe Yao Sat Krishna, Bhajatanre Braja Bhavalana, Rashika Bhakata Shange, Rahiba Piriti Range, Brajapure Bhashati Korija. This is last week's verse. Lord Krishna is the supreme paramour. Therefore, be always attached to him and worship him in the mood of Braj, residing Braj, and associate with devotees who appreciate loving devotional service. And so in our last session, we spoke something about what it means to reside in Braj and the importance of associating with devotees who are in that kind of mood. Even amongst Vaishnavas, even amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas in our own devotional family, it's not all the same. And we love all Vaishnavas, we love all religionists. Vaishnavas should appreciate all living entities. But Narottam Das Thakur is telling us it's not possible.
Is this Zoom?
Yeah.
Mi örülünk, hogy itt vagyunk.
Jó.
Ne aggódjon semmi, csak csinálja.
Csak...
Should I stop the sharing? Or?
No, I'm just.
Csak nem
There's a thing called this one.
Ez a probléma.
Yeah, I can't turn that off for some reason.
Neki nem
There's no.
Így szakadozik a vonal, meg minden beszél, akkor, tehát mondta, hogy a Zoom meg a WhatsApp így nem megy össze.
Anyway, all I know is it's Corny Typer's fault.
Nem, tényleg, nekünk jó.
Exactly. Yes. Agree.
Enjoy too much. Yeah, you can use.
Try again.
Okay, Krishna Kun, is this better now?
I can hear you better now, yes, but Shri Gokul was telling me that they don't hear me. The line is breaking up. It's too difficult.
Yeah.
Seems too overwhelmed when there are more than one channels going on at the same time, and it's just it's hard for me to hear you, and it's also hard for them to understand what I'm saying.
Right. I think the only thing we can do is blame Gorni Tai Prabhu. we can complain to Shil Shivaram Maharaj about Gorni Tai Prabhu.
There's some
Yeah. I'm with the poet.
10 megabytes per second.
Okay, so let's see here.
all goes well. Hogyha minden jól megy, akkor jövő héten ott leszek, és akkor tudok személyesen fordítani, de így akkor ez nem működik sajnos. Bocsánat, kedves Vaisnav.
So, I'm sorry.
Can we try again?
We have another solution?
No, just better internet. Better just connected to my hotspot.
Okay, Krishna Kun, we're going to phone you again. You should please answer the call. This is Deva Prasta Prabhu's phone, so it's kind of like a Tesla car. It should work better. Yeah. Okay, seems better. And I'll try to talk loudly enough. Okay, so. and Krishna Kund, I have something I'll send you. Give me 1 minute here. It'll make it easier for you. You will understand in 1 second. If you're on your computer, you can see that. Okay, so today's verse, what's happening here? Shri Guru Bhakata Jana Tanhara Charanimana Aropiya Kata Anusare Shakira Sarvatamata Hoya Tahara Yuta Shadai Bihare Brajapure. Fix your mind on the lotus feet of the spiritual master and the devotees, according to their instructions and the guidance of the Sakhis. Always live and serve Sri Sri Radha Krishna in Braj. And there's a short commentary. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written a Sanskrit commentary on Prema-bhakti-candrika. And this particular purport is only 2 sentences. And all he does is he just explains the meaning of a couple of words, which we just gave in the translation. So I'm not going to bother going to the commentary. There's one Odia poet who's very dear to my Guru Maharaj. His name was Bhakta Charan Das. He was born around 1780. And he was in the line of Shamananda Prabhu, Shamananda Rasikananda, Narottam, 3 personalities. Bhakta Charan Das is one of the most prominent and beloved Odia Vaishnava poets. And one book that he wrote is called Mathura Mangala, which is really, really nice. Mathura Mangala speaks about the feelings of the gopis when Krishna left Vrindavan. And he's also written a book called Manabodha Chotish, and he's written a commentary, kind of a song commentary, on Raghunath Das Goswami's Manasiksha. So that book was very difficult to find. It was out of print for a long time, that Manasiksha of his. And Fakir Mohan Prabhu, our teacher, he managed to find a copy, and he printed it in 1967. Before you were born. And in the beginning of that, he speaks just as in the beginning of Manasiksha, Guru Goste Gostali Sujane Busuragane. Raghunath Das Goswami speaks about the importance of Guru, So he explains in his song commentary what that means. And let's look at the first verse, as it's relevant for today. Diksha Guru Rupe, Diksha Guru Rupe, Swayam Shri Govinda, Siksha Guru Rupe Radha, Vaishnavas Rupe, Shakti Gana Sarve, Hori Beto Bhigna Bahada. The Diksha Guru Rupe, Swayam Shri Guru Govinda. We should understand that Saksha Darit Vinastamasta Shastar, Acharjamam Vijanayam Navamanye Takari Chit, that the Diksha Guru is a manifestation of Krishna. Diksha Guru Rupe Swayam Shri Govinda. He's non-different from Govinda. And why he mentions Govinda, because Govinda, there's our Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan deities, and Govindaji is a deity of Abhideya. He's the Abhideya deity, and he's a personality who spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So that's considered to be like our Diksha Guru. Then who is the Siksha Guru? Siksha Guru, Rupi Radha. The Siksha Guru is considered to be like Radharani. Why is he saying this? Is it just some kind of cute poetic thing? No, it has a deep purport to it. That the Diksha Guru is considered to be non-different from Krishna because he's giving Krishna in the form of the mantra. He's mantra datta, Guru. He's our Sambandha datta. Is our relationship with Krishna. That's why years ago, to say something political, please forgive me, I visited the temple of Narayan Maharaj in Mathura. And most of the devotees there were disciples, initiated disciples of Vaman Maharaj, Narayan Maharaj's godbrother. But their Siksha Guru was Narayan Maharaj, and he was their everything. But on their altar, there was no picture of Narayan Maharaj. There's a picture of Vaman Maharaj, and that's the tradition. Because the Diksha Guru is Sambandha Datta. He's the person who gives us he is our connection with Krishna. And therefore, Diksha Guru, Rupe Swayam Shri Govinda. He's manifestation of Krishna. And the Siksha Guru, the function of the Siksha Guru is to bring us closer to the Diksha Guru. And if the Siksha Guru doesn't do that, then he's not a Siksha Guru, he's not even a Vaishnava. And so the Siksha Guru is compared to Radharani because Radharani is the person who connects us with Krishna. And the Diksha Guru is compared to Krishna. So the Siksha Guru, therefore, is compared to Radharani. Diksha Guru Rupe, Swayam Shri Govinda, Siksha Guru, Rupe Radha, Vaishnava Surupe, Saki Gana Sarve. And the Vaishnavas, there's these three personalities. The Vaishnavas, Saki Gana Sarve. They're the Saki Ganas. They're like the gopis. And how do we say that philosophically? Because the function of the gopis is to unite Radha and Krishna. So we want to bring the Siksha Guru and the Diksha Guru together in terms of the instructions of the Siksha Guru, and the Siksha Gurus bring us closer to the mantra that we've gotten from the Diksha Guru, bring us closer to Krishna. And just as Narottam Das Thakur sings that Radha Krishna Pranamur Yugala Kishore Jivane Marani Gati Nahi Aramur, that to bring Radha and Krishna together, that's my life and soul. And that's the purpose of the Vaishnavas. It's said that if someone criticizes your guru, your Diksha Guru or your Siksha Guru, it's like stepping on the shadow of Radharani. Now, we don't maybe have this kind of culture very often in our society in the West. But in India, I remember once I was visiting the Madan Mohan. Once I was visiting the Madan Mohan temple of Sanatana Goswami, We stopped, did we? Okay. We were visiting a Madan Mohan temple of Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan. And there was one sadhu there with a group of 100 disciples or something. And as they were going out, they were going around Tulsi. And some of them had stepped on Tulsi's shadow. And their guru became furious and was shouting at them and pushing them off the shadow and things, because you just don't do that. You don't step on the shadow of Gurudev. We don't step on the shadow of any Vaishnava. So if someone's criticizing your guru, that's like stepping on the shadow of Radharani. In other words, that shadow of Radharani, that's our faith in our Gurudev. And someone's going to step on that. That's a very, very offensive thing. You don't have a right for that. Just like if someone doesn't like your wife or doesn't like your husband or something, that's their right. They have a right to not like that person, but they don't have a right to go to that husband or wife and say your spouse is bad. You don't have a right to. You don't have to like everybody, but you don't have a right to go to their children and tell their children your father is a bad person. That's very, very offensive. So Vaishnava Swarupe Sakhi Gana Sarve, the function of the Vaishnavas is to help us to come closer to the Siksha Guru and the Diksha Guru. Horibe to Bigna Bhada. And these three, Bigna Bhada, they remove the different obstacles in the path of bhakti. So Narottam Das Thakur is stressing this today, that Shri Guru Bhakata Jana, Gurudev and Bhakata Jana. And this is something I want to try to speak something about today too. It's not just Gurudev and I and all the rest of the Vaishnavas. Bunch of neophytes, man. I don't need those guys. I just want to be with Gurudev because I'm very, very advanced disciple. So Narottam Das Thakur indirectly is indicating that, as we often comment in the Chatur Shloki of the Bhagavatam. It said, Anvaya Vyatireka Byam Yasyat Sarvata Sarvata, that the Bhagavatam teaches us in two ways, directly and indirectly. So indirectly, Narottam Das Thakur is stating here that you can't separate the Vaishnavas from Gurudev. Both of them have to be respected. Otherwise, we're just a Kanishta Bhakta. We may be a Kanishta Guru Bhakta, but we're a Kanishta Bhakta. So Shri Guru Bhakata Jana, Tanhara Charani Mana. And aropia means that we want to fix our mind. Tanhara Charani, on the lotus feet of Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. And what does that mean? It means literally, we can keep some picture of the lotus feet of Gurudev on our altar, the lotus feet of Yadu Kumar Prabhu, he's a Vaishnava. Prabhuji appreciates that. Photographs are available after class, right? You can keep a photograph of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. That's a good thing. But it also means that we're approaching Gurudev and the Vaishnavas in the lowest way. We're not going and looking them in the eye, but we're approaching their feet. And we're fixing our mind on that. And how do we do that? How do I fix my mind on the lotus feet of those personalities? It doesn't mean just that I'm going to follow Yadu Kumar Prabhu around, look at his feet. So I go, Prabhu, would you please stop doing that? He'll get annoyed with me pretty quick. It doesn't mean that, but kata anusare, that we want to hear from them. If we don't hear from Gurudev, if we don't hear from the Vaishnavas, it has no meaning. We want to hear from them. And even better yet, the Bhagavatam says, 11.330, we were asking her about this verse the other day, and you remembered it? Do you remember now? What is it? Unmute yourself, tell us. 11.330.
Pariprashna, how is it? Pariprashna. I just forgot, okay. But it is it. I'm sorry.
Krishna Kund.
Parasparano katanam
Sorry,
pavanam.
yes.
Parasparana Katanam Pavanam Bhagavadya Samito Ratimitas Tustir Nivrita Mita Atmanaha. We should learn how to associate with devotees by hearing Krishna Katha. Otherwise, I can have my photograph taken, with a Tesla car of Prabhuji, say, I'm with a very elevated Vaishnava in a very elevated car. And some people might be very impressed by that. No doubt. But it doesn't really have any meaning. And similarly, if we come to Gurudev, but we're not hearing from Gurudev, it has no meaning. Huh? What do we sing every morning in Guru Puja, Shri Guru Chana Padme, Kevala Bhakata, that we want to make our mind one with the words of Gurudev, Jahara Basadi Bai. What is the line? It's not coming to my mind. Anyway, we want to make our mind one with the instructions that are coming from Gurudev. That's the function of Guru. As we often comment in Orissa, there's a saying, Kona Funka Guru, meaning Guru who just spits in your ear. He just gives me the mantra, and that's the purpose. Prabhupada, I'm reading Hari Sai Prabhu's latest book about Srila Prabhupada. Wonderful, wonderful book. And there's a conversation they had. Prabhupada mentioned to them that when he was 12 years old, he got initiated by the family guru. And the devotees had never heard that before. It's the first time I'd ever heard that. And Prabhupada hardly ever mentioned that, I think. And then Prabhupada said, he was just kind of an official thing. He would come and once a year and collect some donations, and we give him a feast, something like that. That's the family guru. Things had degraded to that, but we want to come to the Guru. We want to hear from Gurudev. We want to understand the message and the mood of Gurudev. And why do we want to do that? Sakira sarvata mata. We want to understand the mata, the mood or the opinion of the gopis. And the only way that we can understand their mood, their opinion, their mata, is by hearing from Gurudev. Two reasons for that. One, because this is our disciplic succession. We're Rupanugas, we're followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, who's Rupa Manjari, who's Sri Chaitanya Manobhishta, who understands the Manobhishta, the inner mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the inner mind of Radharani, because Rupa Manjari is the most intimate Manjari for Radharani. And also because this is the principle of disciplic succession, that we hear from Guru in disciplic succession, and Krishna is pleased by that. And by doing that, we can approach the gopis. In Braj, there's also a disciplic succession. And Lalita is one of the Pranasakis of Radharani. Pranasaki, she's very close with Radharani. And she's a Yuteshwari. She's a leader of a group of gopis. And amongst those gopis are Rupa Manjari and others. And so we want to follow Rupa Manjari, who's following Lalita, who's following Radharani, like that. And Krishna is also following Radharani. That's this description in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Sakara Sarvata Mata Hoya Tahara Yuta, he's mentioning this word Yuta. Yuta means a group. And as we were mentioning Lalita, she's Yuteshwari. She's the Ishwari, or the main person in that group. And Nautam Das Thakur is saying something here, which, again, Orsi, I'm remembering our conversation yesterday, that is something practical. Many times devotees, they want to know, how do we understand the mood of Radha and Krishna? What are the manjaris like? And we were discussing yesterday, it's really not necessary in one sense to try to artificially understand it, because bhakti by nature is swabhaviki. We've been speaking about that practically every day the last month. It's natural. It'll awaken itself in a natural way. So if we simply follow Gurudev and the Vaishnavas in a proper way, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary says that Sakira Sarvata Mata means that they were always following the footsteps of the Sakis in all respects. And what does it mean for us? As we were mentioning yesterday, some Vaishnavas think this is all for a bunch of neophytes, man. You guys just sit around and have your little bhajan and whatever. But the real deal is you should go to Radhakund and you should practice, Astakaliya Smarana. What are you guys doing? And that's okay. We respect those Vaishnavas. We respect everyone. What to speak of someone who's chanting. They're exalted persons, but we have our Guru Janas. And Srila Prabhupada instructed the devotees, as we've often commented, that Nikunja Yuno Rati Keli Siddhai means book distribution. And it's the most amazing thing to me that the very highest thing that we can conceive of, we've got a practical back door. Even though I'm the lowest and the most fallen, and this is the highest thing that's there, and I don't have qualification for it, but I've got a backdoor entrance into it through this preaching, if we have it in a proper conception. And therefore, Narottam Das Thakur is speaking like this. So we should understand and appreciate the importance of the Vaishnavas and service to the Vaishnavas. I was thinking about Orissa quite a bit. One of the devotees we were just mentioning, this Gopal Krishna, he's in the line of Shyamananda Prabhu. The foremost disciple of Shyamananda was Rasikananda Prabhu, also known as Rasik Murari. And he was living in Jagannath Puri. There's a place called Fultota, which is not far, very close to Siddhabakul, not too far from the Gambhira. We oftentimes take devotees there. And he was staying there. He would take a flower garland, they say, every day to Lord Jagannath and have his darshan. And anyway, many, many nice things about him. But there's one interesting story about him that he stressed the mood of serving the Vaishnavas, which is what Narottam Das Thakur is stressing here today, that we want to hear from Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. We want to serve them. In his Gita Bhashya commentary on Tadvidi Pranipratena Pariprashnena Sevaya, Srila Ramanujacharya explains that this verse speaks about Shravana Adhikar, or the qualification to hear. And the qualification to hear is we have to render service. If we don't render service to Gurudev, and we do that in two ways, by cooking for the deity of Gurudev, by cleaning the temple of Gurudev, by doing book distribution, in the second way, by doing practical services, maybe massaging Gurudev's feet or washing his clothes or cooking for him also. But a second way we serve Gurudev is by hearing his message. And we serve that message by contemplating it and trying to follow it. Otherwise, it has no meaning. So Rasikananda Prabhu was always stressing that we should serve the Vaishnavas. And when the Vaishnavas would come to Puri, he kept a pitcher of water right near him. And when the Vaishnavas would come, he would wash their feet. It still goes on. If you visit the small villages, it's embarrassing. Sometimes in Orissa, you go to somebody's home, and they will not let you in the house until you allow them to wash your feet. And it's like, oh my God, okay. But that's their culture. That's the Vaishnava culture. And you have to allow them to do that. So he got so much happiness by doing that. So he used to organize big festivals also to worship his Gurudev and for the pleasure of his Gurudev by having Krishna Kirtan and inviting the devotees to come and hear Krishna Kirtan, have Kirtan. That's how we worship Gurudev also. And he's stress feeding all the Vaishnavas and doing Vaishnav Seva. And so one day, a lot of his disciples were there taking prasadam, and Rasikananda wanted to test his disciples. So he told them, you should go and wash the feet of all the Vaishnavas here. Yes, Gurudev. And so they did that, and then they brought the Charnamrita from all the Vaishnavas to Rasikananda Prabhu. How would you feel? And he drank some of that Charnamrita. I don't know if I'd want to go to that festival or not. But and he took it and he said, there's something wrong. I don't feel any happiness. Why am I not feeling happiness? I'm taking, because Narottam Thakur is telling us here that we should worship the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas and Gurudev. So he's doing that, but he said, I'm not getting any happiness from taking this Charnamrita. Why not? Huh? And then he thought, maybe my disciples, they didn't wash the feet of one of the Vaishnavas here. So he asked one of his disciples, you tell me the truth. Be honest. Is there somebody here whose feet you didn't wash? And finally, one of the disciples said, well, Guru Maharaj, there's this devotee over here. He's got leprosy on his feet, and he's open wounds and pus, and it's really gross. And we didn't wash those feet. Huh? And Rasikananda, hey, you go right now and you wash his feet. Yes, Gurudev. And so they went to that devotee who had leprosy on his feet and washed his feet. And then they brought it back to Rasikananda and he drank that water. And then he told the other disciples, you should also drink some of this water. He has so much faith in taking the Charnamrita and worshiping the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Then tears were coming from his eyes. He was in so much ecstasy. So this verse is saying that we should hear from Gurudev, we should serve Gurudev. In the Sanat Kumar Samhita, it said, Yat Sakshat Sevanam Tasya Premna Bhagavato Bhavet Samoksha Prochate Prajnayar Veda Vedanga Vedi Bihi. Thank you, Krishna Kun. Chittete Koriya Aikya. Chittete Koriya Aikya. Chittete, I want to make my consciousness one with Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, with the words coming from the lotus mouth of my Gurudev. Chittete Koriya Aikya. So this verse from Sanat Kumar Samhita, Yat Sakshat Sevanam Tasya. We should understand that service to Gurudev is exactly the same as serving Krishna. This is how I'm serving Krishna. Samoksha Prochate Pragyaya Veda Vedanga Vedi Bihi. And all the Vedas and Vedangas, all wise persons, they say this is the fact. That to render service to Gurudev and the Vaishnavas is such a very, very important thing. Hari Bhakti Vilas describes this. Guru Sushushanam Nama Sarvadamottamottamam Hasmat Dharmat Pado Dharma Pavitro Naiva Vidyate. This is Hari Bhakti Vilas 4, 355. Let's look that up. Service to Sri Guru Shushushanam Nama, that thing which is called Guru Seva, Sarva Dhamma Uttamottamam. It's the Dharma Uttamam. It's the Uttama, the Uttam, or the highest of all the highest things of all different types of Dharma. Tasmat Dharma Parodham Pavitravnaiva Vidya. There's no higher Dharma. There's nothing higher in this world than to serve Gurudev. That's our life. And the Bhagavatam says, Savaipum Samparo Dharma Yato Bhakti Hoksuje, Dharma Mad Bhakta Krip Prokta, This is the highest service, is to render service to Krishna. But higher than that is to serve Gurudev. In the Bhakti Sundarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the Vamana Kalpa, where Lord Brahma says, Yo mantra, saguru sakshat, yo guru sahari swayam, guru yasha bhavet tasya, tushas tasya hari swayam. That we should understand that the mantra that you have, yo mantra, saguru sakshat, that's not different from my Gurudev. Yaguru sahari swayam, my Gurudev is non-different from Krishna. Guru Yasha Bhavet Tushtas. To please Gurudev. If I please Gurudev, then Krishna is automatically pleased. Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, Yasya Prasada. It's not Yasya, but Yasya. Yasya, if you don't please Gurudev, then Krishna is not pleased by that thing. So this is the life of the devotees. This is the most important thing. In the Bhagavatam, Krishna says to Sudama Vipra, Naham ija prajab dipyam taposapasamena va tushyayam sarvabhutatma guru susushraya yata. That I'm not so satisfied by people who are doing some rituals, people who have Brahman initiation, people who are doing tapasya, upasamena, who have some self-control, as much as I am by someone who's doing service to Gurudev. And that service should be sushushaya. It should be service, but sushushaya also indicates faithful service, which is ahoitaki apratiyata. Like without any personal motivation, whatever Gurudev wants. Once Ramanujacharya, one Brahmin boy came to him and requested that you please give me shelter. He said, yes, and he gave him initiation. And then he asked him for, he said, Gurudev, what service can I do? And Ramanuja told him that I want you to come every day and I'm going to bathe your feet and I'm going to drink the water. Could you imagine, Prabhu? Your Guru Maharaj tells you that. And I'm sure it wasn't such an easy thing for that boy, but he accepted that because it's the order of his Gurudev. His Gurudev wanted to respect the Brahmins. So one day Ramanuja was doing some preaching program and he came back late and he saw that disciple was staying up. He was outside the ashram. He said, what are you doing up so late? He said, Gurudev, I'm sorry, I haven't done my service yet today. His service is to let Ramanuja Acharya wash his feet. But he had such devotion to Gurudev, it was a hoitaki. Because for himself, my God, he would never allow Gurudev to wash his feet, but that was Gurudev's desire. Had nothing to do with his, it's a hoitaki, and it was apratiyata. He would do that no matter what. A service to our Gurudev is our life and soul. So many different statements about this point. The Bhagavatam in the 7th canto gives a long list of different problems, different defects. My mind is crazy. There's this thing and that thing. And it finishes Narada Muni is telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, Etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho yanjasa jayet. That all of these things very easily, anjasa means easily, anjasa jaya, jaya means to conquer. All these problems are all easily defeated when we just render service to Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. It's such a very, very important thing. Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate, the Brihan Naradiya Purana, emphatically states that we get bhakti by serving the devotees. As Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in his morning walks in Venice Beach commented, life comes from life. So bhakti comes from bhakti. By serving the devotees, we get bhakti. What is it? Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate. In the Prema Vilas, it's a wonderful book by Nityananda Das. He was a disciple of Janava Mata, the wife of Lord Nityananda. She was the acharya at that time, and pretty good. His name was Balaram Das. His Karmi name wasn't exactly Karmi. And when he came to his guru Mata, she gave him initiation and she named him Nityananda Das. That's pretty good, coming from the wife of Lord Nityananda. So she told him, you should write this book, Prema-Vilas, about the pastimes of Gaura Nitai and some of the devotees and things. And there's a conversation he describes there between Lokanath Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur, that we're hearing about Narottam Das Thakur. And in that conversation, Lokanath Goswami says, Mahaprabhu Agya Achi Harinama Prati, that Mahaprabhu has given his Agya, his order. Agya means the order. It's a common word in Odia language, also in Bengali. If you speak something to a subordinate may come to before you and say Agya. It's kind of like, what is it? But it literally means, what is your order? What is your instruction? It's a beautiful way to approach the Vaishnavas and Gurudev. So Mahaprabhu is instructed how Harinam should be given, Harinama Prati. How do we get that Harinam? What do we do? It's not so complicated, right? I just get a piece of paper with it on, and we have it on the signs, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That's it, right? What's the problem? But it's something much, much more to it than that. So he describes how the living entities are going through so many different bodies in this world. They need what he calls a mahoshada. Mahoshada chaya. Chaya means a shadow. So because the heat of the material energy is so intense, we need a powerful medicine to give us some shade from that sun of the material nature. And he says that there's no type of yoga that you can do to be able to solve that problem. And he says, Hena Roga, this Roga means disease, this material disease, Hena Roga, Dura Kore Krishna Bhakta Rup. That Krishna comes, Krishna takes care of this disease personally, and he does it when Krishna comes in the form of a devotee, Krishna Bhakta Rup. And he comes in the form of Gurudev, and Krishna Nama Dile Hoyena Guru Swarup. He comes Guru Swarup. Krishna personally comes. This is a mystical aspect of Guru Tattva. And it's a very, very important thing. We have a society, and for the first time in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, I think we have a formal kind of institutional thing about Guru. And it's not exactly an appointment always, but it's you have to have permission, and there's some different things like, and that's the system. But we should understand that that may be there, we have it in our society, but ultimately we get Guru by praying and crying to Krishna. My Guru Maharaj called it Atma Krandanam, the crying of the soul. And you can't legislate that. I can't say that I think everybody should take initiation from her or from this one or that one. That's crazy. It can't be done. You can't legislate faith. So when we cry to Krishna, then Krishna comes in the form of Guru. And what does Guru do? He gives Krishna's names. Well, how does he give Krishna's names? How did Prabhupada give Krishna's names? I don't know if I've ever heard. There must have been some devotees, especially in 26 Second Avenue, definitely there were, who heard the Mahamantra from Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told them, you chant the Mahamantra. But most devotees were chanting Hare Krishna mantra long before they met Prabhupada. Most of you were chanting the mantra long before you met your Gurudev. You didn't get it from your Gurudev. So what does he mean when he says Krishna Nama Dile? That Gurudev is giving us that Mahamantra. We can find some clue in Mukta Charita of Raghunath Das Goswami, in the famous invocation verse where he says that Nama Shreshtam, he speaks about the different gifts that Gurudev has given me. And the first thing he says, Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Sachiputra Matrasu. First thing is, Gurudev gave me the holy name, the topmost name, Nama Shreshtam. Well, Krishna's Advaita Tattva He's one. So what do you mean the topmost name? Is there different names? Is it like, depends on the day of the week? Today we have the Thursday holy name, and then maybe the holy name takes a day off or two on Sunday and Saturday or something. It's not really the holy name. And the holy name is always the holy name. It's one. So what does he mean by saying Namashreshtam? It means that Gurudev is giving me a conception of the holy name. Because as we often comment from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Jai Rupa Chinche Dasi Se Rupa Hoy. According to how you conceive the Lord, you see him in that way. So we want to see Krishna. But how can I see him? How can I understand him? I see him by hearing from Gurudev, by getting the holy name from Gurudev. It doesn't mean that Gurudev comes and speaks a Maha Mantra in my ear, but it means that Gurudev is telling me who is Krishna, who is Radha, what is the meaning of this mantra. Huh? So he says, Guru Sishya Kata E Shastrati Achai. This topics about guru and disciple, they're given in Shastra. Jai Taha Jane Se Avashya Koreye. And someone who understands them, then that person, Avashya, is going to accept Koreye, the process. They're going to do something. Because to get initiated means to initiate something, means to begin something. Just Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was very affectionate to me, and he liked my Guru Maharaj very much. And when I received initiation from my Guru Maharaj, I was with Guru Maharaj, and we were visiting Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's ashram in Washington, D.C. And I went up, Maharaj called me up, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj called me up, and I went to see him. I said, Maharaj, I just got initiated, and da-da-da. And he told me then, he said, you should understand this is the beginning. It's not the end, but it's the beginning of something. Now I'm going to have to take up a process. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these verses on the board. These are beautiful verses. Then Nityananda Das, he says, Tahana Korile Shastra Hoya Anuvad. Someone who doesn't understand Shastra, with the word Anuvad means the purport or the understanding. Someone who doesn't understand in this way, Na Korena Nahitari Krishna Prasad. They won't get the mercy of Krishna. And this is such an important point. And that's why we see many devotees have gotten initiated. Sometimes they think of the initiation, that's it, now I'm good. But I'm only half cooked, or maybe less than half cooked. And we see they don't always have Krishna's mercy. And sometimes they end up going away. So he explains then a very basic principle, which Narottam Das Thakur speaks about also in Prema-bhakti-candrika. Narottam says that sadhu shastra guru vakya chitete koriya aikya, that three things, it's a very famous verse. We oftentimes misquote this verse in ISKCON. We say guru sadhu shastra, but that's not what Narottam Das Thakur says. Narottam Das Thakur says sadhu shastra guru sadhu shastra guru chitete koriya aikya, that I should understand these three, and it's in a sequence, because it's not just that all of a sudden I meet guru. No, first you meet a sadhu, you meet a devotee. And what is a qualification, what is a symptom of that Vaishnava? They're teaching Shastra. They're living Shastra. They're the embodiment of Shastra. So sadhu is first, and then Shastra. Then I understand something about Shastra from that devotee. And then the third thing, by hearing from sadhu, by seeing how he's behaving, by hearing from Shastra, then I see the necessity for guru. And you understand, who is guru? Sadguru Jena Vakya Koribe Bichar. And Nityananda Das says here in Prema Vilas that when we study that Shastra properly, then we understand who's Sadguru, who's a genuine guru. And he says, Ikavatsara deki bena guru je tattva. We should, for 1 year at least, and this is a similar statement given in Hari Bhakti Vilas, the disciple should watch Gurudev, should be near Gurudev. And in particular, he says, Deki Bena will see Gurudev by Guru Je Tattva, by hearing the tattva, the philosophy that Gurudev gives. Srila Prabhupada, one time he said that we see Vrindavan with our ears, not with our eyes. My Guru Maharaj made a similar comment. He said, we see sadhu with our ears, not with our eyes. So and in Visvasa Koriya Mane, Bhuji Bib Mahatva, we develop some Visvas. We develop some faith based on the comments of Gurudev, because we see Gurudev is quoting Shastra, and then we can understand something about that. And then Nityananda Das goes on to explain that, so for that 1 year, the disciple should watch Gurudev and should serve him in appropriate ways. And then the Guru also will see the nature of the disciple, yogya to ayogya. He'll see the yogya and the ayogya, or the qualification and the disqualification, and that's important. Therefore, Sanatana Goswami, when he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't try to impress him. Gurudev, Maharaj, if you give me initiation, you'll be really lucky. I'm a good catch. I'm very wealthy. I'm very educated. I'm very handsome. And I'm very humble. And if you accept me, then you'll be very fortunate. No, the Guru should see, and we should come to Gurudev as Sanatana Goswami did. And Sanatana Goswami said, Kayami, I don't know who I am. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you, Krishna. So Gurudev has to see, and then when he sees the qualifications and disqualifications of Guru, the disciple, excuse me, then he can see what's appropriate, what the appropriate medicine is. Just like a doctor has to do some examination to see, he listens to your lungs, he does some x-rays, this and that, and he can see what your disease is. And we should come close to Gurudev for that purpose. So now going back in the beginning of this conversation between Lokanath Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur, the whole point of the conversation was how to get the holy name. How does the holy name come? And now he goes back to that point now. Harinama Sadi Bakuru Shange Taki Sada. To get that holy name, Guru Shange Taki Sada, we should be close to Gurudev. How often should we be close to Gurudev? He says Sada, always. Always be very close to it. It doesn't mean that you have to sleep outside Guru Maharaj's house. You're going to sleep in front of his door at night. Gurudev, Shastra says I should be very close. I'm going to follow you to the bathroom. I'm going to go wherever you're going. No, you'll just become annoying. Prabhupada said sometimes the mosquito is very close to the king, but he's not appreciated. He's not really close. We don't want to be like that. So it means that we understand, we're hearing from Gurudev, we're following Gurudev's instructions, and in that sense, we're close with him. And then Narottam says, Lokanath Goswami says, as described by Nityananda Das, Harinama Sadibe Guru Shangetaki Sada, that two things are required. The first is to get the holy name, we have to stay close to Gurudev. And the second principle is Vaishnavera Sangi Lobha. We should always be greedy to get association with the Vaishnavas. And what does it mean to associate with the Vaishnavas? It means that we should hear Krishna Katha, that we should discuss Krishna Katha with the Vaishnavas. And if we're understanding that process, we should become dhridarati, we should become very firm in doing that. And then at that time he says, Hari Krishna Mahamantra Sada Diba Nishi Kona Juge Prabhu Kripa Hoya Hina Basi. We should chant that Hari Krishna mantra Sadi Diba Nishi, day and night. constantly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Kona Jugi Prabhu Kripa Hoya Hina Basi, being very, very eager. When is Gurudev going to give me mercy? And now someone may say, that doesn't make any sense. You've already gotten mercy from Gurudev, you've gotten initiated, you've gotten the Maha Mantra. But no, I've gotten something, but I haven't realized that thing. And this is the first principle. If you don't understand that you're sick, you're not going to go to the doctor, and there's no hope for you to heal yourself. We should understand our shortcomings and be ready to and be hankering to get that proper medicine. So we want to get that mercy from Gurudev. Let's go on with these verses. These are such a nice section from Prema-bhakti-candrika. Adika utkanta hoy. When Gurudev sees that disciple is utkanta. Kanta means the throat. We have kunti mala. Comes from the same word, kanta. When a disciple's utkanta means literally like you're shouting out from you just can't control yourself. Hoya guru korina karuna. Then Gurudev gives mercy to that devotee who just can't control anything else. But ihase bujite pari kona kona jan. Very few people understand that. Because most people are thinking Kona Funka Guru, that it's just some ceremony that we get. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, in one purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he quotes Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sundarbha, and he says that one should not accept Guru for ecclesiastical purposes. He uses that word, ecclesiastical, fancy word. Ecclesiastical means some official religious purpose. Just like you become a member of the Catholic Church, or you become a life member of ISKCON. That's ecclesiastical. I'm going along with the authorities, religious thing. But initiation's not like that. It's something, it's from the heart. So, Sishamani Bhuji Guru Vishvasara Kata. So when the Guru sees the Vishvas, or the particular mood, the translator here says determination, okay, of the Sishya, the mind of that Sishya, understanding that, Gurudev gives instructions accordingly. And he says that yogyata nahile, kripa nahibe sarvata. If the disciple's not qualified, he's giving mercy, but the disciple doesn't get it. And my Guru Maharaj said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving so much mercy, but where is it? Why am I not getting it? We're getting it. We're getting it every day in the morning program. We come for the deities and Prabhupada's books and prasadam, and just practically every moment of our day, we're getting just getting inundated with mercy. But why don't we have it? And he gave a beautiful explanation that it's like collecting milk. And he said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is famous as Gora Singha. He's the lion-like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's giving milk, this milk of mercy. But if you go, Guru Maharaj is explaining, to collect lion's milk, that requires a special pot. Because lion's milk is very powerful. And if you go with a clay pot, it'll break the pot. So you have to go with a golden pot. And the problem, he said, is that we're collecting this mercy, but our pot is full of holes. And the mercy is just going, it's just flowing through, and we're not collecting it. So we need to have a proper pot. And what is that proper pot? The proper pot is Trinadapi Sunijjena, our humility. And therefore Mahaprabhu gives us this verse for Kirtaniya Sadahari. This is a secret to be able to always chant. And this is the same point here in Narottam, in Prema Vilas that Nityananda Das is making, that if he sees the qualification of the disciple, then Gurudev gives more, and that mercy stays. And then he says to Narottam Das Thakur, Lokanath Goswami says, Ehoi Prachin Vakya, you should listen. Here's some ancient Prachin Vakya, ancient instruction, ancient wisdom. Sunonatam, listen carefully. Jna janme Krishna to kripa. This eta karna, this is a reason why Krishna's mercy doesn't arise. Because we don't have this determination. We're not crying out for that thing. Bahusishya korite goshayir agya nahain. And he goes on to speak some things about guru and disciple and how better the guru doesn't accept many disciples. I won't go there so much. But it's important, Hari Bhakti Vilas describes that having initiation is good, but we have to associate with devotees. It's not just as we were saying in the beginning, now I have Gurudev and I don't need you guys. I had one godbrother who, it's a long story. Anyway, he had some problems in the society. He was kicked out of ISKCON 3 times, actually. 3 times, world record. And the last time he wrote a letter to all of his godbrothers and said, I don't need you guys. I don't need any of you. And this is an attitude that I've got Gurudev, therefore I don't need anybody else. And this is spoken about in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Vaishnavanam para bhaktir acharjanam visheshataha pujanam ya chayata shakti tan apanam chapalayet. That someone who's a disciple, being a disciple means that we should be devoted to all the Vaishnavas, but in particular, Vaishnavanam para bhaktir acharjanam vishesha, but especially to the acharyas. Acharyas are also Vaishnavas, but I give more respect to them. And acharya here, Prabhupada defines acharya many times as, in a simple way, someone who's teaching by their achar, or by their behavior. They're living what they're doing. Pujanam cha yata shakti. According to your shakti, whatever strength you have, you should worship them. You should worship those Vaishnavas. You should worship those acharyas. If they're in any kind of danger, you should protect them. Palayat means you should maintain them. Feed Gurudev. Feed the Vaishnavas. Give him some clothes. But you don't have to give socks to Shil Shivaram Maharaj. I know he always mentions that, right, on Vyas Puja. I have about 1,000 pairs of socks. So everybody gives him socks. But we should serve the Vaishnavas with everything that we have. This is a principle that Narottam Das Thakur is speaking of. So in the Sanat Kumar Samhita we were just speaking of, it speaks of this principle also in text 111. Let's go ahead and look at this. A very nice verse. Satam dharmas tata sikshet prapananam visheshataha sveshta deva diya nityam vaishnavan paritoshaye. You went and got a chair for him because of what we're talking about? Because you were just inspired naturally. Yeah, you have to also watch his feet too. But if you try, he may run away. I don't know. So in the Sanat Kumar Samhita, it's described different things that the disciples should do. Satam dharma, and that the disciple is someone he should study what the Vaishnavas are doing. What is the dharma, the sat dharma that the Vaishnavas are doing? What are they really, really attached to? Just as an example, the Hindus are really attached to Go Seva, and that's a very good thing. We appreciate that also. Vaishnavas are also attached to Go Seva, but in a different kind of way. Someone we were just discussing with a friend who's really dedicated to Go Seva in Vrindavan. And she was mentioning how some people say that there's a difference between Deshi cows and Bideshi cows, and the Bideshi cows are the foreign cows, they're not really cows, only the Deshi cows. And it was hurting her heart. Prabhupada never spoke like that. So she wrote to Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj about this, who's done a lot of research. And Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj commented, he said that the Hindus, they commonly say that all the different demigods are in the body of the cow. We've heard that many times. But he commented, he said, as far as I know, Srila Prabhupada never said that. Prabhupada never, it's in Shastra, but it's in Mahabharata for one place. And in the Mahabharata, it said that all the demigods on the body of the cow and also all the demons are located in the body of the cow also. So there's a difference, the point was being made, between how the Vaishnavas see Goseva and how the Hindus see Goseva. So this is the principle, Satam Dharma. I want to see the special dharma that the devotees are doing. Okay, everybody's taking care of cows in India. That's a dharmic thing. But what is the mood of the Vaishnavas? The Vaishnavas here in New Brajadam are taking care of the cows because it's service to Radha Shyam. Because Krishna's taking care of the cows. So you're assisting Shyamasundar by taking care of the cows. That's his business. So you become one of the Gwalas, you become one of his boys who are helping assist to serving the cows. Second point that he makes, that's made in Sanat Kumar Samhita, Sikshat Prapananam Visheshataha, that Prapananam means to surrender. Sikshat, we should understand the teachings of the qualities, Visheshata, of surrendered souls. How do they behave? What are they doing all the time? And it's a very important thing. The third thing, Svesha Devadiya, we should always think about our Ishtadev. And we have some Ishtadev in our movement. Mahaprabhu said, Krishna, Radha Krishna Pranamur Yugala Kishore. That's our Ishtadev. Now, he may appear as Radha Shamsundar, Radha Govinda, Radha Giridhari, but Radha Krishna is our Ishtadev. And we always want to meditate. Another meaning of that too is that the disciple wants to serve the Ishtadev, the deity of his Gurudev. And so he's always assisting, he's always thinking about that. Here we have Radha Shamsundar. So we're doing some gardening. And maybe even the vegetables from your garden don't go to Radha Shamsundar. But you're doing it as a service to them. And in the villages in Gadaigiri, for example, the first fruit, the first vegetable of the year, they take to the temple and they offer to Gopal. So the first thing in your garden you should definitely take to Radha Shamsundar. It's a service for them. And when we're taking care of this body, because the body belongs to Gurudev, so that I can serve and please him. And the fourth principle, Nityam, always, Nityam Vaishnavan Paritoshaye. Nityam, always, Paritoshaye means to please. Nityam Vaishnavan Paritoshaye. I should always try to please the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada commented in one place, he said that my Guru Maharaj told me to go and preach in the West. He said, and I've done that to the best of my ability, Prabhupada said in a very humble way. And he said, another one of my godbrothers, my Guru Maharaj told him that you should go to Vrindavan and you should make rice when the Oriya devotees and the Bengali devotees come to Vrindavan, because they want rice. Once we took Prabhupada Priyasevak Prabhu, one of our dear friends, he was assisting us in Vrindavan selling books. And we worked really hard. So I took him to MVT restaurant and he didn't know what to order. He's from the village in Orissa. So I said, you give him some lasagna and some pizza and some cake, some ice cream. It was like overload, all these really opulent things. And I never forget, he was sitting there looking unhappy like this. And I said, what is it? And like a little child, he said, I want some rice. Because he's from Orissa. And they have to have rice. In West Bengal, you have to. If there's no rice, it's not nice. Rice is nice. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta he sent Srila Prabhupada to the West to preach. And Prabhupada said he sent this other devotee to Vrindavan to make rice. Not a big service. But he said, but it's on an absolute platform. Both are equally pleasing to Gurudev if someone's sincere about it. And he's doing that because Nityam Vaishnavam Paritoshaye. We should always try to please the Vaishnavas. What do the Vaishnavas like? It's a kind of a controversial thing in ISKCON. And there are different opinions about this, but I'm going to just comment my humble understanding. And maybe someone disagrees, and that's okay. But the devotees talk of, is pizza bona fide? Or pasta or lasagna, or he's a lasagna man, or are this thing bona fide, or should we only have rice dal and chapatis? And it's a big, very, very important fight amongst the devotees. And there's some good arguments. Some Vaishnavas, they say that we want to offer Krishna what pleases Krishna. And Krishna likes to eat what Radharani's cooking. And when Mother Yashoda's cooking, and I haven't read anywhere that Radharani's making pizza, or she's making pasta or cakes or anything. She's making rice dal and chapatis, and there's so many different descriptions of Radharani's cooking in different literatures. So we wanted to. So then, why? Maybe this is just bogus. That's a very existential question. Is pizza bona fide? Amongst different devotees. Another perspective is that in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it says that you should offer to Krishna things that they're local items and things which are dear to you.
Yeah.
That's another different perspective. And now Shamasundar has come to Hungary. I know in Orissa, sometimes we have some mahants or some sadhus, we invite them to our ashram. And I always tell Krishna Kun, you make some lasagna. She makes really nice lasagna because they're coming. And if we make rice dal and chapatis for them, probably we can't do it as good as what they do in their home. And they're coming to the house of some Bideshis. They're going to expect some foreign thing. This is going to be my experience. And so now Krishna's done the same thing. Shamasundar has come here to Hungary. He's established Vrindavan. And he wants to see, how do you Hungarians eat? What kind of stuff do you have here? And what kind of fruits do you have? And vegetables and things. It's natural. When you travel in different places, you want to have the local cuisine. And Krishna wants to do the same. Now, another explanation, in the Brahma Purana, we printed this verse in our magazine about Mahaprasad. Krishna says to Lord Brahma that I accept what's offered to me with mantras, but I taste food through the mouths of my devotees. It's a very important principle. So if someone comes from Orissa or from West Bengal and they just really like rice, then you give them some rice and they become happy. And Krishna is pleased with that. Krishna tastes that. And everybody, every Vaishnava, every person in the world I've ever found, everybody likes what their mother cooked for them.
Yes.
That's kind of, isn't it? It's just a natural principle. So that's our principle in serving the Vaishnavas. And that Vaishnav Seva is so very, very dear to the Lord that Krishna himself comes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he was praying, the devotees were praying to Krishna, as described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. They were just in love with this Nimai Pandit. This little, even though he was a big badmash, a big rascal, he was always arguing with everybody and pinching girls and taking their clothes when they're bathing and doing all kinds of really bad things that you can't do, doing all kinds of nonsense things. But the devotees just loved him. And it's described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. They would go to the Ganga and they would pray, please, Krishna, please give bhakti to Nimai Pandit. That person who's Bhakta Rup, is a devotee himself, was coming to give bhakti. And Chaitanya Bhagavat says Mahaprabhu was aware of those prayers and he accepted it. To teach us that the only way to get bhakti is by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Hari Sariprabhu, I love Hari Sariprabhu's books. He describes in one of his books a story about one day, Tamal Krishna Maharaj had a big argument with Harikesh Prabhu about who could get the remnants from Prabhupada's plate. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked a few days before if he could get Prabhupada's remnants because he couldn't digest the temple prasadam that was in Mayapur. Very common I hear from devotees. You must, as a cook, you must hear that. Prabhu, I can't digest that thing. I need special prasadam or something. So Prabhupada told him, you can have my remnants heard. But Harikesh Prabhu had gotten a different instruction from Prabhupada, that his remnants should not be given only to his servants, but it should be distributed to everybody. So Harikesh was a little unhappy with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. What is this? You're taking all of Prabhupada's prasadam. This is not right. Prabhupada said we should distribute it everywhere. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj was correct. Both of them are correct. Tamal Krishna Maharaj is saying, no. Prabhupada said that I can have what's left over. And so they're having it. So then Prabhupada called them both out. And he listened to both of them. And then Prabhupada chastised Harikesh first and said, you shouldn't have interrupted Tamal Krishna Maharaj while he's eating. It's a very bad thing. When someone's taking prasadam, it's a kind of deity worship. Yeah, you should be very, very focused. There shouldn't be any disturbance at that time. And he'd given Tamal Krishna Maharaj permission. But then he went on to explain about the importance of Vaishnava dealings and how the essential quality of Vaishnava dealings is humility. And I'll read you what Shrutakirti, what Hari Sahiba remembered Prabhupada said. Actually, Prabhupada said, one has to be blessed by a devotee to become a devotee. And he who is a servant of the servant of the servant, 100 times removed, is not worse than one who directly serves the guru. Because if one thinks that I'm a direct servant or I'm better than the others, Prabhupada says that he's not a Vaishnava. I'm better than everybody because I'm Gurudev's personal servant. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said to offer respects to Guru and not to his disciples is wrong. It's not Vaishnava. One has to be humble and try to serve all the Vaishnavas, not some and not others. So such an important principle. If we want to please Gurudev, we have to serve the Vaishnavas. In Gujarat, there in the year 1153, a long time ago, there was a very simple farmer. His name was Borana. And Borana was living in this village called Dakor. And every 6 months, twice a year, he would walk 450 kilometers to go have darshan of Ranchor, his beloved deity in Dwarka. He should be so attached to the deity, so he'd walk all the distance. And he would stay there for a few days, have darshan of the Lord. A long time walking, there's no train or no cars or anything. And he'd walk all the way back home, but he was just ecstatic. And so this went on for years. And finally, when he was 72 years old, he's getting a little old, he's still doing that. And he came to Dwarka and he came before the Lord. And he said, my dear Lord, I have to tell you, because we should speak to the Lord and we should tell the Lord how we're doing, what service we want to do, what is our mind, what is our heart. And he said, I'm really sorry, but I just can't do this anymore. My body's not up to the 450 kilometer walk to come to Dwarka. And then Krishna spoke to him, the deity spoke to him and told him, there's one devotee, one simple man, he has an ox cart, and you ask him if you can borrow that ox cart to come to see the deity. And told him, so next year, you come to see me, you take that ox cart, and I'll go back with you. I'll get in the ox cart and I'll return to the village with you. And so Boris said, oh, thank you, my Lord. He was just a farmer, very simple Vaishnava. Yes, my Lord. And so he went to the man that told him, the Lord told me this thing, and the man agreed. And so he came in the ox cart to see the Lord. And when he arrived in Dwarka, the pujaris there, they knew him. He'd been coming his whole life. And they asked him, always if he walked, because there's a feeling when you walk It's such a humble feeling that you're coming in such a submissive way to see the Lord. But now you're coming in an ox cart like a big person. Ox cart's not such a big thing, not quite like a Tesla. So they asked him, why are you coming in an ox cart? And that farmer told him, he said, well, Krishna, last time I was here, Krishna told me that I should come in an ox cart. And he said that he'd come back with me in the ox cart and live with me in the village. And the pujaris are kind of, sure, right, okay, all right. Maybe you should take your medications, you know. They were thinking he's a little crazy, huh? So, but that night, they put the deity to rest. They closed the doors of the temple. And by the Lord's mystic power, the doors opened. And Krishna came out of the deity, started walking. He came out of the temple and he got into that ox cart. And so that ox cart was full of grass. And the Lord told Borana that you put this grass over me. And they drove away. And so Borana, they were going very slow. He's an old man. So then Krishna told him, look, you're useless. You can't drive. Get out of the way. And Krishna personally drove that ox cart, and they made it back to the village, 450 kilometers on an ox cart in one night. Is pretty fast. But that's the tradition in one night. Of course, if you have Krishna as a driver. So in the next morning, when the pujaris went to wake up the deity, he's not there. And then that crazy guy yesterday told us that Krishna was going to leave with him. So they suspected him. And so then they started on this 450-kilometer journey to go to the village of Dakwar to get the Lord back. And so when they reached Dakwar, Krishna told Bharana that you should hide me in this lake. And when the pujaris come, you tell them that you don't know where the Lord is. And so then the pujaris, they came the long ways and they were tired. And Krishna came to him in a dream and told him that I'm here, but I want to stay with my devotee Bharana. And he's just a farmer, but he's such a simple, he has so much devotion. And don't worry, I'm going to appear in another form, in a well, in a coop in Dwarka. And after 6 months, you'll be able to find me there and you can take me to the temple and worship me. So that original deity of Krishna, who was in Dwarka, who was established by Brajanath, Krishna's great-grandson, he drove himself in an ox cart to come to the village of Dakwar, and he's there to this day. So Krishna loves his devotees. And Narottam Das Thakur, understanding the love that Krishna has for his devotees, understanding his principle of bhakti-stu bhagavad bhakti sangena parijayate, that the only way to get bhakti is by serving the Vaishnavas, by serving Gurudev. He's given us this instruction in this verse today. Shri Guru Bhakata Jana Tanhara Charani Mana Aropiya Kata Anusari Sakara Sarvata Mata Hoya Tahara Yuta Sadai Bihari Brajapuri. That we should always fix our mind on the lotus feet of Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. And according to the instructions of Kata, we should be anusari, we should be following their instructions. And that is how we come under the guidance of the Sakhis. And that's how we'll always live in Vrindavan and always serve Radha and Krishna. It may appear that, oh, we're living in New York, or we're in Budapest, or we're in this place or that, but we're in Vrindavan. And we're serving Radha Shami, serving Radha Govinda in New York. That's Vrindavan, Prabhupada said. And we should understand that. But to enter that place, the doorway is through Guru Seva and the instructions of Gurudev and the Vaishnavas. So I'm going to stop there. It's later than I wanted it to be. Maybe some devotees have some questions or comments, reflections, corrections. Mataji, it's okay. Yo, I'm sorry. I have to learn Hungarian. I'm a very bad person. Anybody online with anything? Who would you have something? Speak real loud so they can hear you.
Hare Krishna. So just at the end, you mentioned something that's very dear to my heart, and it's subject to my meditation in the last, I don't know, a year or so, maybe more. That's in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 14, verses 30 to 33, where the
All the
chapters,
problems.
the chapter is called Ideal Family, but those particular verses are mentioned in all the holy places in India. And then there's this line which says Hare Archa, and Srila Prabhupada translates the both in word to word as well as the literal translation. He says that where the deity worship of Radha and Krishna is happening, and then he mentions specifically New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, London, Paris, and then everywhere where centers of Krishna consciousness, like if ISKCON are, those places are equal to those mentioned, all the holy places that were mentioned before. And then he says that one must visit those places and perform the yagas there, which will 1,000-fold will be better than anywhere else where you do those yagas, either chanting holy name, whatever. So, but what strikes me is how Prabhupada makes so much focus in both the word-to-word translation and literal translation of the verse to ensure and establish that understanding foundation of that those places are no different to Vrindavan. And as my spiritual master says, quoting Srila Prabhupada class in Melbourne, when Srila Prabhupada said, "Do you think when Melbourne we're in Vaikuntha?" And devotees would say, "Jai Prabhupada," and say, "No, Vrindavan." Jai, because of worship of Radha Krishna. And so that's why it's such a pleasure to bring devotees to such places as New Vraj to actually experience that Vrindavan atmosphere very close to their places where they live. Yes, so thank you for stressing that point.
John, there's an aspect of that too, and I want to comment on. Prabhupada, in one of his early lectures in Hawaii, he was saying, our purpose, we want to establish Vrindavan villages. Now here, we're mentioning about the deity, and wherever the deity of Radha Krishna is, that's Vrindavan. But Prabhupada is speaking about it from another perspective also. We want to establish Vrindavan villages. And what does Vrindavan village mean? Sanatana Goswami says, what is the most special quality about Vrindavan? He said, it's not Krishna. It's the devotees. Krishna's so attached to them. And so we should live in such a way, we should have such a community. And the community means that we love all the different Vaishnavas in a way that we're serving Krishna. And just as a few days ago in Radhakund Prakat, we were speaking about Keshi and Aristasura, the last two demons in Braj Leela. Keshi, when he entered, both of them, when they entered Vrindavan, they entered in a big way. And Keshi Bhaktivinoda says, represents Ami Bodho Bhakta O Acharya Abhiman, this attitude that I'm a big, big devotee. And they come running into Vrindavan, and all the devotees, they just spoil everything. If someone comes running in, the attitude, I'm a big devotee, here I am, it's me, I'm here. And it spoils everything because the center of New Brajadam is Radhisham. The center of Vrindavan is Krishna. And somebody comes in, I'm a big, big devotee and you should respect me. Yeah, it just spoils everything. Look, man, just chill out, okay? So I was thinking of it when you were making your comment. Prabhupada said we want to establish Vrindavan villages. And we do that by having attitude of Vrindavan. Kalinda, do you want to share something?
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to ask some question. You have been speaking about how we should always try to please devotees. So my question is a little bit funny, that how to please devotees without being the people pleaser, if you know what I mean. Like really in the proper mood.
You know, if you, in Los Angeles, we used to have the most amazing Harinams. Sometime we go to Hollywood Boulevard, and we'd have Agni Dev Prabhu and just amazing kirtaniyas, and all the devotees' feet were practically not touching the ground. And you'd see this huge crowd of people and they would feel so happy. And why are they happy? They're not devotees. They don't appreciate anything vegetarian, even what to speak of prasadam and devotees. But they're happy because Krishna is there. So if we want to really make devotees happy, it means keeping Krishna in the center. Now, if you stop the kirtan and you ask one of those people around it, how can we please you? They'll say, well, I want to go on a date with this pretty girl over here. Or I want to have a hamburger. They'll say some nonsense thing. And we're not going to do that because we know that's not really going to make them happy. That girl that they want to go out on a date with, she's really going to make them unhappy in the long run. And the hamburger thing and their alcohol thing and web, this all going to make them unhappy. But we know that Krishna Nam is going to really make them happy. So in a similar way, sometimes some of those people join who are watching the Hari, and some of them are us. And sometimes even we become senior devotees or managers, and maybe we're not really that much changed from the persons watching the Harinam. and we want to tell people, you want to please me, you please me by listening to what I tell you to do and being my submissive follower. Or sometimes even telling some really nonsense thing. A classic example is in New York. It's a long story, but one of the managing devotees who were there was telling devotees to offer chicken and eggs to Radha Govinda. Yeah, it's horrific during Prabhupada's time. And the devotees, some of the devotees became so disturbed, they left. And some devotees said, well, what can we do? The temple president said so. So they went ahead. And when Prabhupada came, he was furious with everybody. He said, why did you do this? And the devotees who left, why did you leave? You should have stopped this thing. So it's not just that I please, just like a child. You know, the child says, you have to please me. You're my mother. I want this candy. I want this thing or that. And I'm going to scream and cry unless you get it from me. But you know that really that's not going to help them. And so in the same way too, sometimes, even with leaders in our movement, sometimes they have some selfishness. It's a fine act of cooperation because that's what Prabhupada wanted in our international society. It means tolerating each other, just as Prabhupada tolerated all of us, and trying to work cooperatively. But sometimes we have to have good intelligence. And even though Gurudev, the temple president, may tell me something, if it's wrong,
You can't follow.
I can't do that. I have to say no. Even that there's this dispute right now in America that the armed forces, the army in America, they're trained when they join the army that if your superiors tell you to do something that's wrong, don't do it. And that's in the army, and their whole discipline is based on doing whatever you're told. But that's one of their main principles. So what to speak in bhakti? Yes, we cooperate with the managers and leaders, but if they're telling us something which is just not in the spirit of Vaishnavism, which is not right, then it's an art of living. How am I going to deal with that? And that's the art. Whether we just say forget it, go to hell, or we go better yet, we go to their superior, the GBC or some person, and talk with them. If they won't listen, then maybe we just quietly serve on the side and we come not so often or something. There's different. It's an art of living. Is that helpful, Kalindi?
Yes, and there is also the second part of the question.
Okay.
Now with the devotees in general, I don't mean like leaders or something like that, but with devotees in general, we can have this attitude to please them, but also is it being impersonal to actually put much more on the first place, like Krishna, because sometimes it's it's tricky. We should please the devotees, serve them, but sometimes we like can forget like the main point, or like putting Krishna on the first place, and then sometimes it means that we don't please the devotees. So is it being impersonal?
Well, that's why in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam it says, Archayamiva Haraye Pujam Yashara Yeyate the Tad Bhakti Shuchanyeshu Sabhakta Prakrita Smita. That we should understand this is a Prakrita Bhakta. This is a materialistic devotee. A symptom. And if someone's a materialistic devotee, means I don't want to, I'm not going to associate with them in the same way. They're kind of a devotee, because they're doing some chanting and wearing kunti mal and whatever, and I appreciate that, all glories, but archayameva hareye, they have faith, shradayate, in worshiping the deity, but natad bhakti suchanyeshu, they don't appreciate the devotees. I remember one place we went to where there's a big community, like a few hundred devotees in the community, and you go to Bhagavatam class and 1 or 2 devotees would be there. That would be it. And it's a long discussion, but the temple president, when he took me to the pujari room, and he was so proud, see how we take care of the outfits and see how we take care of the necklaces, and we do this and we do that. And it was really nice how they took care of the deity. But the devotees, it was like there was nothing. In fact, he's always complaining about the devotees. So that's a symptom of a prakrita bhakta. And we don't want to be like that. We don't want to associate with persons like that. We want to please the devotees, because if we please the devotees, we'll please Krishna. Ye me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktas tate janaha mad bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas te me bhakta tamo mataha. Krishna says that someone who says he's my devotee, he's not my devotee. But the devotee of my devotee, that's my real devotee. This is a principle of this Krishna consciousness movement. We have to serve the Vaishnavas. Otherwise, we can't please the deity. And so I'm always saying that when I come to New Brajadam, and really I'm thinking that I want to try to, the center of New Brajadam is Radhisham. But that's the heart of New Brajadam. But what's the heart of Radhisham Sundar? It's the devotees. And when I come, I always go and I pray, please, can I serve the devotees here? Because I know that'll please Radhisham. That'll please Srila Prabhupada. That'll please my Gurudev. We should always be thinking like that. Is that helpful, Kalindi?
Yes, thank you very much.
Very, very important question. I saw, was it in the chat, Brenda Sundari also, she said, a very delicate and mysterious art. Yeah, and Krishna Kun commented too. She's paraphrasing a statement from Ramanujacharya, where he said that Vaishnav Seva is not the means. Sometimes we may think that, oh, if I do Vaishnav Seva, then I'll get mystic powers. I'll get good intelligence. I'll get lots of wealth. I'll get this or that. But then we're thinking, or even I'll please Krishna. I'll get Krishna Bhakti if I serve the Vaishnavas. Therefore, I'm going to serve the Vaishnavas because I want Krishna Bhakti. That means, Ramanuja says, you have a misunderstanding. You're thinking that Vaishnav Seva is the means, but Vaishnav Seva is not the means. Vaishnav Seva is the goal. It's our everything. It's not just the means by which we attain the goal. It is the goal. It's our everything. That's Vrindavan. And that's why we were commenting that that's what it means to have the Vrindavan villages. We have to have the spirit of Vrindavan. Okay, anybody else with anything? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and wind up. It's about time now. Prabhuji, speak really loud, please.
Hare Krishna. So, could it be said, when
Loudly. I know
Prabhupada
you.
says that we go to planet where Krishna's pastimes are, and then we get trained up before go to the spiritual world. But in one sense, this is also, we're being trained up here.
Yeah.
Also, like we're dealing with the devotees, we're learning to deal with the devotees, because the spiritual world is just full of devotees. So this is also in one sense, that planet.
Yeah, I like that. I have a kind of more of a mundane analogy, Chandra, that spiritual life is like a game of cards. And if you played, I don't know, rummy or whatever cards, I used to play cards when I was a kid. You're playing cards, they deal out the cards. Every person gets 7 cards or whatever. And whatever cards that you get, that's what you play with. And that's what you're given. So we want to play in Krishna Lila, we want to make progress. And what have we been dealt? What cards have we been dealt? We can look around in the room, and this is what we've been given. And we may say, "Oh, I don't like these cards. I don't like what I've been." Well, you can't play the game. You have to. We've been given a certain association, a certain, as you said, in that sense, this is preparing us for the spiritual world, because we're acting right now as sadhaks. So we should be trying to serve the Vaishnavas, trying to serve Gurudev, and Krishna will be pleased by that. I think that's a great comment. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. It's 6 o'clock here. Okay, so I think next week we may be here in the same place if Yadu Kumar Prabhu was not too offended with me by my obnoxious jokes and comes. I don't know. You have to fight with him about it.
Please.
But Srila Prabhupada said we should serve all the Vaishnavas and we should try to please everybody. That's important. It's such a beautiful story to me, that story of Harikesh Prabhu and Tamal Krishna Maharaj. They're both right. Both got instructions from Prabhupada. But the art is how to, and Prabhupada was so expert with that. My God, you read about these controversies and things that were going on. At one point, one senior Vaishnava wanted to kick all the women out of the movement, not let them live in the temples. And it was a big issue. And Prabhupada resolved things. And he told them, you go to China and you preach and like that. These things are going on. Okay. So thank you all very much. And Gauri Thai Prabhu. So you have till next week to get here so you can translate for the devotees. Otherwise, they're really going to be upset with you. I'm sorry to tell you like that.
I can promise that I made a note so I can translate it and then they can make a voice message
That's
for
good. But
Mataji.
you should apologize in Hungarian. You say something sweet in Hungarian.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Bocsánatot kérek mindenkitől, hogy nem vagyok ott, és hogy nem tudtam így szolgálni a vajsnavákat ott a háttérben, főleg azokat, akik magyarul beszélnek, mert hogy hallottam, hogy itt most nem volt magyar fordítás, én megígérem, hogy ezt az egészet én most átteszem egy hangfájlba lefordítva, és elküldöm azoknak, akiket ott láttam a képen, vagy akik még kérik tőlem. Hare Krishna, bocsássatok meg, bocsássatok meg, bocsássatok meg, szavaimért, tetteimért, a jelenlétemért, mindenért. De ez van kártyajátékban, ezt osztották, bocsi.
Okay. Hey, Leela Purushottam Prabhu, I'm going to put you on the spot too, since I'm putting Gauri Taipu on the spot in a very demoniac way, because he's such a gentle, sweet person. He didn't do anything wrong, and I'm just being aggressive and bad. So you said you were going to come with some devotees. Is that actually going to happen, or no? You haven't
Yes,
answered.
yes. I
Gonna
just want. I had a plan that to ask you if we could have a phone call sooner the
Discussion.
better.
Okay.
To make a plan to make a specific schedule so that I can tell the devotees what's gonna be the program for those days there.
Okay, that sounds great.
But there's a serious plan to come, definitely.
Okay.
Not a huge group of devotees, but few of us will come.
We don't care about big numbers. We just care about sweet devotees.
There are many sweet devotees in the group. One bitter pill will come with them also. Hopefully by their association I can have some hope to become sweet devotee
Oh,
one
Tota
day.
Gopinath's going to be disappointed because he left this morning for Lithuania with Naranjan Maharaj, and they're
Oh,
not going to be.
Maharaj went to Lithuania.
Yeah, they're going to come back, but I'm not sure when. So I'm not sure if they'll. From the sound of things, I think they're probably not going to come back until about the end of this month, just before Nishina Chaturdasi and Shivaram Maharaj's Vyas Puja program.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj said about the 23rd, 21st, 23rd or so. That was his plan. Could have changed. So many things changed, but that was his plan when he left.
Anyway, Krishna, can I
We
have a
will
comment?
miss him just by a few days, actually.
Oh, that's a shame. Because if you guys come, we could. If Maharaj is here, we have some excuse. We could bring everybody to Maharaj, and he could say a few words or something.
Oh, that could happen? Oh my God.
Krishna Kun saying no.
Krishna Kun doesn't agree. At least to pay obeisances to Maharaj, that would be wonderful.
We can't
And
hear you now.
embrace Tota Gopinath.
I don't know.
Krishna Kun Mataji.
I don't foresee asking him because nobody's asking him to do anything on purpose because we don't want to. However, we could possibly ask whether or not he would like to come up to the temple and do a kirtan with Radha Shyam for Radha Shyam, because that he does regularly, not often, but regularly.
There's some tricks here. Anyway, I think everybody in this meeting today, you should all note that Krishna Kund, although she's been banned from India, look, she's at Govardhan Hill. So
Yeah, I really liked her background.
That's
amazing. On the association with the Dham. And I also want to, I don't know if Anandini Mataji and Shigoki is there still?
She left. Shivakula left, but Anandini is here.
Anandi is here. Anandini kedves, nagyon sajnálom, egyszerűen nem hallottam a fejemet, amíg a WhatsApp is ment, meg a Zoom is. Tehát nem lehetett a kettőt összeegyeztetni. De akkor Gornitáj Prabhu, hogyha tartja magát az ígéretéhez, akkor én nem csinálom azt, amit itt írtam nektek a chatben, mert akkor ő már csinálja. Jó? És akkor megígérem, hogy mindent megteszek, ami tőlem függ, ami nem teljesen minden, de ami tőlem függ, azt mindent megteszek, hogy jövő héten ott legyek, és akkor tudja fordítani. Jó?
Thank you.
You'd be nice to Mother Anandini. Radhi Shyama, the heart of New Brajadam. I think the heart of Radhi Shyama is Anandini Mataji. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Narottam Das ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinda ki, Vanchakopatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nanda Kori Vaishnava